This morning, New Jersey Governor Christie has returned from a weekend of campaigning. He is the 14th Republican to enter the presidential race. The White House hopeful spent the holiday weekend meeting voters in New Hampshire. He has made 13 campaign stops in New Hampshire and Maine since announcing his candidacy last Tuesday. Christie joined 8 other presidential contenders in the Granite State over the weekend, including Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush were also there. Governor Christie is trying to set himself apart from the competition and is with us now in Studio 57. Governor, good morning.
Good morning, Nora.
You already have set yourself apart from the competition. You're here.
I am.
We appreciate that.
Day over.
Day over. How about that win last night for the U.S. women's soccer team?
And you're having a Jersey girl on right after me.
Carly Lloyd.
4 of the 5 goals were scored by Jersey women.
Yeah.
So it's a good day for New Jersey this morning. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about the presidential contest. 14 Republicans. I know you spent a lot of time in New Hampshire. How do you break out from the pack?
It's hard work, basically, and big ideas. I mean, that's what the folks in New Hampshire for certain want. And I think that's around the rest of the country, too. They know we have big problems that we need to deal with. They want to hear specifically what you're going to do because, you know, the country bought hope and change 7 years ago, and a bumper sticker was nice, but they want specifics on ideas. So you just get up there, work hard, and talk to them. Let's
talk about specifics. And the big headline this morning is Greece. Should the European Union pull the plug and get Greece out of the Eurozone?
Well, listen, you know, if the Greeks are not going to step forward to make the kind of sacrifices that are necessary, I think it's going to be a very hard decision for the EU in terms of how they go forward. But the fact is that it also shows a strain of how people want to have self-determination. You know, and so the EU, I think, has some big decisions to make.
What do you think, Governor, the potential impact on the U.S. economy is with the Greek decision?
I don't think it's going to be a significant impact on the U.S. economy. I don't think the Greek economy is big enough to have that significant impact. But if it looks like it's leading to a crumbling EU, then it may have some more impact.
How about the talks with Iran? You've called President Obama's handling of them the single most disturbing chapter of his presidency. What concerns you the most?
He's giving Iran a nuclear weapon. The largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world is moving towards a nuclear weapon with the permission of the United States. It's outrageous. It's an outrageous thing to do. And the president, now we extend the talks another week and another week. You know, you give them your belt, they want your pants next. I mean, that's the way it goes. And, you know, I said over the weekend in New Hampshire, you wouldn't buy a car this way, let alone have nuclear talks this way. You can't look like you want the car that much. And the president cares much more about his legacy now and having his signature on this on some kind of agreement with Iran than whether it's a good agreement for the country and for the world. If you're our allies in the Middle East, what are you thinking this morning? This is a bad thing for the president, and I think he should just, you know, get smart about this, walk away from the table, increase the sanctions. The Iranians will come back to the table.
If he does get a deal, would you undo that as president?
Well, I think you have to see what the deal is, ultimately, and what's the condition of the world at the time. I certainly wouldn't be inclined to want to do it, but I will tell you that I think it's irresponsible to say you absolutely wouldn't. You have to look at what the conditions are in the world elsewhere when you make that decision. But it's not a good deal, and I suspect that any American president would want to figure out a way to walk away from a bad deal.
But Governor, the U.S., including Congress, Republicans and Democrats have opposed some of the toughest economic sanctions ever, which has brought Iran virtually to the negotiating tables. It's really hurt their economy. Yeah. So hasn't that slowed down their approach towards a nuclear weapon?
It doesn't appear so. They have 4 tons more of enriched nuclear material than they said they were going to have when they signed the framework to get into the negotiations. It doesn't seem like that part of it has slowed them down. I think the sanctions have worked, though, Nora, you're right, in terms of bringing them to the table. But now when you're a negotiator on the other side, like Secretary of State Kerry, and you look so anxious to get a deal, well, of course they're going to try to take as much as they can. Walk away from the table. You know, it's the best way to handle this. Increase the sanctions. Congress wants to do it. Unite the allies and move forward from there. They'll come back to the table the same way they came the first time, but maybe this time they'll come back knowing that America will not sign a bad deal for the United States and for the rest of the world.
Governor, I want to talk about New Hampshire a second because it looked like there weren't enough streets up there this weekend to hold all the candidates. You have high negatives up there. I mean, nearly half the people up there have an unfavorable opinion of you. Why do you think that is, and how do you counter that?
Well, I think the way you counter it is doing exactly what I'm doing. You go up and you talk to voters directly. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me just in the last week and said to me, it's really great to meet you because some of the way you're characterized at times on television is very different than what you look like when we meet you. So, you know, part of the good thing about having the notoriety that I have is that as you walk down the street there in Wolfboro, no one doesn't recognize you. But on the other hand, you get work to do. But that's what campaigns are for, Anthony. If campaigns didn't have that ability to affect people and change their minds, then why bother? So we'll go up there and we'll work really hard, and I think we'll make a difference.
We know there was a slumber party at Governor Romney's house.
How does that go?
Yeah.
It was good.
I know you were one of the first to endorse him when he ran for president. Are you hoping for his endorsement?
Well, sure, I'm hoping for everybody's endorsement.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping for Mitt Romney's. I'm hoping for yours. So, you know, we'll try to get everybody's that we can. And we had a really good time over the weekend. It was great of Mitt and Ann to invite us to stay with them. It's good to spend some time with Marco and Jeanette and their children. So we had a good time.
One quick final question. Yeah. Donald Trump. Governor Perry, you may have heard him say earlier that he does not represent the Republican Party. You've said he's a good guy. Is the conversation he's been having with America going to affect this Republican race?
I don't think so. I've said that the comments he made were inappropriate and have no place in the race, even though I like him. He's been a friend for 13 years, but sometimes even good friends of yours say things that you don't agree with.
Right.
And I don't agree with that, and I think it doesn't have any place. Do I think it'll affect the party in the long term? No, I don't, because there's plenty of us in the Republican Party who know we have to grow the party in order to win national elections, and that's what I'll intend to do as the nominee.
Governor Christie, thanks so much.
Thank you all.